Hi, my name's Benji and welcome to Dice vs Cards. Today we're looking at Specter Ops Broken Covenant, a 2 to 5 player, one versus many hidden movement game, where the one plays as an arc agent looking to uncover the dark and insidious past secrets of the mega corporation Raxon, and the many actually play the bad guys looking to hunt that agent down. So let's see how this plays and whether this can be the next game for you. So the object of the game for you as the hunters is to uncover the location of the agent and take them down. And for the agent player, the idea is for you to uncover 3 mission objectives and then scarper off the board. So this is the pad that the agent player is going to be using to secretly show where they're moving throughout the map, and this map actually goes further up the screen, as you can see, and also a little bit further down, so it's even almost double the size of what you see on screen. So once you've selected all of your hunters and the agent selects their miniature, you're then good to go. So the agent player starts every turn and they're going to be marking their movement, which is up to 4 spaces, either orthogonally or diagonally, on that pad that I just showed you. Remember, the idea is for them to get to the mission objectives, obtain 3 of them, and then scarper out of one of the exits. So they're going to be doing that in hiding until which point they move across the line of sight of one of the hunter players. So if they've gone past the line of sight but then ended their turn outside of line of sight, they'll play a last seen marker. So let's just say the agent player moved across here but then ultimately went out of line of sight at the end of their turn, they'd place the last seen marker there. If they ended their turn on this space, however, in line of sight of this hunter, they'd then place their miniature down. So to obtain an objective, they need to start their turn next to it and then simply flip it over. That's also going to show the hunters your hand and where you're currently at. But the agents also have special abilities they can use, equipment cards that can be used once per turn that are going to help them evade capture. So on the hunter player's turn, they also get to move up to 4 spaces, and they've also got their own passive abilities, although you can generally use them just once per turn. You've also got access to this vehicle, which can move a bunch more spaces, and you can board and alight that vehicle at any time. So line of sight acts in a way you would expect. When you're in these hallway, you can see both rows of grid points, but it's when you're inside these structures here that you can only see in one narrow line, north, east, south and west. And that line of sight is always blocked by these little structures here, or walls. So to actually attack an agent player, once they're visible, it's a fairly straightforward target number you need on the roll of a d6. So here it's simply the number of spaces that the agent player is away from the player taking the attack. So for this hunter to hit that agent, they'd need to roll 1, 2, 3 on the dice, and every time they succeed, they take 1 hit point away from the agent player. Remember, the agent players got between 4 and 6 points depending on the player count. 2 to 3 players actually keep mission objectives on the board, so it's a little bit easier for you to find them because you've got less hunters to do so. The 4-player variant removes those mission objectives from the game and also increases the agent's hit points to 6 players, amongst other things. And then at the 5-player count, there's actually a traitor hunter in there that's actually going to be aiding the agent win the game. So that's how this game plays. What did I think of it? So who is this for? Well, if you like some tension and suspense in your games, then look no further. Perhaps you just like a game that subverts its genre's theme, flips it upside the head. The many being the bad guys is also a big tick for you. And perhaps you're just someone who likes to watch. So you might want to consider this if you liked Escaped from the Aliens in Outer Space, or King and Assassins. So what the former has that this doesn't is a more conventional team versus team setup, and the latter has more overt pieces and hidden in plain sight type of vibe. So what's good about the game? Well, they've got some really tight and focused mechanics on offer here, and without that, hidden movement games probably don't work that well. It's got an excellent map to it. It really does have a bunch of nooks and crannies that will allow the agent to duck and dive and try and evade capture. So the production quality on offer is really of a high standard. I'm impressed with all the parts. The miniatures are begging to be painted, and there's a nice theme that's wrapped around it. You understand what you're doing, and as I've mentioned, that subverting the general sense where the many are the bad guys and the one is the good is a real plus to the theme. So the fact that you've always got close proximity as the agent to all of the hunters is really what makes for a tense and suspenseful game. You know you're probably in the right quadrant, you're just behind them, and it's really very close and tense because of it. What's not so good about the game? Whilst the player scaling design choices are quite admirable, the game is the most interesting, the most balanced at 4 players and at 5 players. So 4 players has hidden objectives for the agents and they've got a few more hit points, and 5 players adds a traitor player in there that's actually going to be helping out the agents. So there's always a fine line as well as the agent player to getting caught. Any small mistake might mean that the game's going to end pretty abruptly, because once the hunters do smell blood, it's actually not too difficult to then ultimately defeat them and finish the game. So with all that being said, Dice vs Cards are going to give a final score of 8 out of 10. This is a game that's got more pros than cons and is a welcome addition to the science fiction hidden movement genre. However, that's it from me. I'll see you next time.
Is there a betrayal more poignant than a covenant that gets broken? You'd have to get damn sure creative.